We are ready now to author the detailed description of the invention for your patent application. It is very important that you understand that at the time of filing, this description and the drawing figures are the most critical part of your patent application. This is because the claims that we will prepare and file with the patent application can be changed at any time after the filing. The claims can be deleted, they can be amended, they can be replaced, and certainly will be amended in the examination process later on. But the description and the drawings that we finish and we file with the patent application cannot be materially changed after we file. No new matter can be added after filing. So if we later think that we've made a mistake or there's another embodiment we'd like to add or something we'd like to upgrade, we cannot do it. So it's very important that we get it right the first time before we file. And we cannot later claim anything that is not adequately described in the detailed description of the invention and the drawings. We call it enabled. Now there are three portions of an overall detailed description. We're not going to go into great detail to try to teach you what these are, how to write them right at this point, but we will continue with the video to show you exactly how to do that. The first portion is a single first introductory paragraph. It's not always used, but we recommend very highly that you do use it. The second portion following that first paragraph will be several pages of description referring to your drawing figures and the element numbers in your drawing figures, which describe with the aid of the figures exactly what your contribution to the public is with your invention that entitles you to a patent. And the third and last portion of the overall detailed description is a broadening paragraph at the end of the description, and we'll show you exactly how to do that as well. Now, we are going to use a patent 8358097 to illustrate how the detailed description of the invention is done. Now, you need to go to our resources system if you haven't already done so, and perhaps you have. But if not, go to resources, download the folder for the track lighting system, open that folder, and you will find two folders within the top folder. One for all the Corel drawing figures in that case, a second one that has all the PDF figures in that case, a third file, which is a Word document, which is the actual specification that was prepared and filed with the patent application for this track lighting system that resulted in the issuance of this patent. And that is what we're going to restudy and display to you to show you exactly how to write the detailed description. And then there is a PDF copy of the actual patent that issued, patent 8358097. Open the PDF folder and you will see there are 7 figures for this patent application of the track lighting system. You need to open and print each one of these figures so you can follow the descriptions that we're going to provide that will show you how to properly prepare the detailed description of the invention. What we have here is the actual Word doc specification for the track lighting system that we're going to use as an example to show you exactly how to write the detailed description for your invention. This case, of course, has its title. You have created the title for your own specification that you're developing in another Word document. This one has a cross-reference because it had a provisional patent application previously filed. The background of the invention is here. The field of the invention, discussion of the state of the art, ends with what is clearly needed. This one has a summary. Yours does not as yet, but will have when we're finished. And then we have the brief description of the drawing figures. There are 7 drawing figures in this case. And as we just previously asked you to do, we hope that you have downloaded, printed all 7 of these figures because you'll need to follow the figures as we go through the description of how to write the detailed description of the invention. Right after the brief description of the drawing figures, we come to the detailed description. Now, this one doesn't say of the invention, and like we have in our template now, it doesn't matter, but this is the detailed description. Now, we mentioned just before that the matter of the first introductory paragraph. That's this paragraph right here, very short, 2 sentences. The first sentence says the inventor provides, and then goes on to say what the inventor provides. In this case, a unique control system for a motorized track lighting system enabling photosynthesis to occur in plants on a robust level. Now, you can copy the inventor provides, and then for your introductory statement, tell what your invention provides. Then the second sentence is a boilerplate sentence. The present invention is described in enabling detail in the following examples, which may represent more than one embodiment of the present invention. You can use this exactly in any patent application, and we encourage you to do so. So your first task will be to create this introductory paragraph. The inventor provides, what does yours provide, and then just copy and paste this second sentence. And then we go on to the actual detailed description, beginning with figure 1. And the way the detailed description is written is to describe the figures with the element numbers that you have prepared for your patent application. Now, you will find as you go through this and develop your detailed description that you'll wish you had made another figure or a different figure or one figure superfluous. You will be encouraged to change figures. You will need to change figures, change element numbers. This is more of a waltz kind of thing. But at the end of the description, you will have corrected all your figures, gotten all your figures exactly right, and the description corresponding to the figures as well. So let's start with figure 1. You printed out figure 1. Figure 1 shows sort of a cross-section of a nursery, which has our track lighting system, and plants on tables. The track lighting system proceeds over these plants and provides light for photosynthesis for the plants. And we follow the drawing protocol that we had asked you to follow before, with numbers 100 through 199 reserved for figure 1 and so forth. So we start here and describe figure 1, and the very first thing we do is that we use the brief description of the drawing. Figure 1 is an elevation view, We can copy that and paste it here, which is how this was developed. But we now have element numbers to deal with. So we add the element numbers: an indoor garden 100 with a track lighting system according to an embodiment of the present invention. Very important, according to an embodiment of the present invention. There may be other track lighting systems that fall within the scope of our invention. We don't want to say this is the only one. We go on to say garden 100. In this example, important, in this example, garden 100 in this example is an indoor garden that produces commercially for the consumer market. Indoor garden 100 has a plurality of plants, 103, arranged in planter boxes and so forth. On a table or other platform apparatus, 102. In this view, only the end boxes with plants, 103, are visible. Now we go to a second paragraph and we say indoor garden 100 has a motor-driven track lighting system, 106, use the element numbers, supported by a track 104 and a support beam 105, and then we say in this example. So we keep saying as we go in this embodiment, in this example, to make it perfectly clear to the reader and to the examiner and to anybody else once our patent issues that this description is an example of the invention. It's an embodiment of the invention. It does not describe everything that can possibly be the invention. So you can sprinkle this language throughout the descriptions that you do. So we go on to describe the lamps, lamp support members, and all of the different parts of the overall assembly of the track lighting system. When an operation in one embodiment, so again, in one embodiment, this is not the only embodiment, the system carries the lighting assembly to the first stop sensor, stopping for the preset time, for the second sensor, and so forth. And we go on to describe further. So you can follow through this at your own pace and your own understanding, and keep following that we continue to use the language of in one embodiment of the present invention, or in one embodiment a track light control system, and 110, and so forth. Now here's an important point. The first time we introduce an element 110, this is the first time element 110 is introduced in this description. So we say a track light control system. This is the name of element 110, track light control system, and we use the article a or an the very first time that it's introduced in our description. Later, after we introduce it, we can say control system 100 or 110. I'm sorry, I said 100, but it is 110. Control system 110, or the control system. So that's antecedent basis. We introduce it, and then we can refer to it as the control system or control system 110. And you can follow on down in this description and all the different aspects. We're still in figure 1 at this point. We're talking about sensors 117. Stop sensors 117 are placed at desired stopping or timeout points. And again, we continue to use the language of in an embodiment and an example. And we're going to skip down now through the last part of the description from figure 1. And we know that we're still in figure 1 because all of the element numbers that we're seeing, again here you see in this example, are in the 100 series. So this is still description of figure 1. And finally we get to the end of everything we can tell about our invention relative to this first figure 1. Now we go to figure 2. And the description of figure 2 begins the same way that we did with figure 1. We go back up to the brief description and we copy the language of the brief description as a perspective view of a track lighting system support structure, but we put in the element number 200 as we see in figure 2, illustrating sensor placement. Support structure, again you see a track lighting system support structure. This is the first time we've talked about the support structure, so we say a track lighting system support structure. And then we can talk about support structure 200 after we've already introduced it. Now, there are a lot of elements with 100 numbers in figure 2. That's because these were all visible in and had element numbers in figure 1. We don't make new element numbers. If a name of an element has an element number, we carry it through all the drawings and all the description. Only new things that are introduced in figure 2, like 201, 202 that you see here, have new numbers. 202 is a motor housing. 201 is here somewhere. I haven't found it just yet, but so now we describe everything in figure 2. Figure 2 shows some additional detail of the track structure and the lamps that are carried on the track structure that was introduced in figure 1. So we carry on that description very much the same as we did for figure 1. And then we come to the end of everything we've described in figure. We can describe with figure 2 and begin the description from figure 3. Figure 3 is a perspective view of a control unit 111 of figure 1 according to an embodiment of the present invention. This is exactly the language of the brief description, except we've added in the element number 111. Now, this embodiment includes components that were previously introduced in figure 1. That's what I was saying before. So those keep the same numbers, and we go on in the same way, in the same kind of description. Again, here we see in one embodiment, switch 311, a switch 311. That's the first time we've introduced that switch. Then we can talk about the switch after that. And we get on and on in the description from figure 3, which describes some of the control aspects, and we come to figure 4. Now, figure 4 is a block diagram of the control unit electronics, which we call block 400, according to an embodiment of the present invention. You see again a schematic diagram in illustrating control, and we describe then all of the control aspects from figure 4. We can't go into everything. We're trying to show only those types of language that are important to maintain the breadth of the invention as we go, and the order that we follow in developing the detailed description of the invention. So now we're going further in figure 4. We come to figure 5. Now, figure 5 is a flow diagram, you will see as we printed it out. The steps in the flow all have numbers, and we describe how the process works. Install stop sensors to divide area, install sensor activation magnet, etc., etc. And we follow through all of the steps. You may have or you may not have flow diagrams in your description. If you have a process to describe, you really should have flow diagrams. So now we follow through all the steps of the flow diagram for figure 5, as you see. And we come to figure 6. Figure 6 is another flow diagram which describes another process in the invention. And you can see, according to an embodiment of the present invention, we always liberally use that language. And we follow through the description of the process of figure 6, I'm sorry, and then we finally come to figure 7, a block diagram of components 700 of the control unit of figure 1 according to another embodiment of the invention. Now, this is a different embodiment. This is another way the convention be done, and this is part of what we really require in the detailed description of the invention, is that you include in here all of the different ways you think this invention might be implemented, might be practiced, might be done, because no invention is narrow enough that it's only one thing. We have to think broadly, and we have to describe the invention in all of its aspects. So figure 7 is the last of our figures and describes all of the aspects of this alternative embodiment of the invention. And then we will come finally, after the description of figure 7, to what we mentioned before, which is the broadening statement at the end of the patent application, at the end of the detailed description. And that's this statement right here. The very last paragraph, single paragraph. You remember we had a single paragraph at the beginning, which is an introductory paragraph. Now we have a single paragraph at the end after describing all of the invention with the aid of the drawings and the element numbers. We say it will be apparent to one with skill in the art that the track lighting control system of the invention may be provided using some or all of the mentioned features and components without departing from the spirit and scope of the invention. It will also be apparent to the skilled artisan, and you can use this language, the skilled artisan. This is a matter of law. Skilled person, skilled artisan, person of ordinary skill. There are several different ways that this is said. It will also be apparent to the skilled artisan that the embodiments described above are specific examples of a single broader invention which may have greater scope than any of the singular descriptions taught. There may be many alterations made in the descriptions without departing from the spirit and scope of the present invention. So you can use that paragraph, copy and paste it into your own, and just change the nouns to your, to describe your invention rather than this invention, and you can use exactly this language for the final broadening paragraph for your invention. Now, again, it needs to be said that as you go through and you make these descriptions, you're going to find that there may have been some errors or mistakes or omissions in the development of the drawings. You'll want to fix those drawings as you go and re-describe as you go. So when you get to this point that you're putting in this final paragraph, you will have a completed description for your invention, and you will have it in the breadth that we need it. And in the language, we often use might or may rather than is or shall, because we always strive to keep the descriptions broad. We highly encourage you to use all of the resources that we have provided. As you know by now, we provide 10 folders for 10 different patents, each of which has within it the editable CorelDRAW figures, the PDF figures, the Word doc that is the specification that was used to file the original patent application, and a PDF copy of the patent itself. So if what we have just provided is not quite enough to guide you to prepare the detailed description of your invention, please do download more of these resources. Read them, read the descriptions, study the language, study the process until you are confident and sure that you have properly and satisfactorily completed the detailed description of your invention. Once that is done, then it's time to go back to the navigation pane and go on to step 11 for developing the claims for your invention.